Good morning. I know most of us have just woken. Some of us have been up for hours. Coming to morning practice is very new for me, but it's good. Thank you for joining us on this still full moon. It was exact on Saturday. Today is Monday. And it is shifted from Taurus into Gemini. Gemini is our hands, wrists, arms, even into the shoulders. And it's pretty clear when you think about this situation that duality comes into play. Gemini, the twins. And there is a lot of dualistic energy in the world right now. And I wonder if we can, as an individual, avoid the tendency of Gemini to become either very wishy-washy and indecisive, but also remain soft enough that we don't get completely hardened into one or the other. Being able to step back in quietness and observe and hold two things in our mind or our heart simultaneously is both a skill that takes practice and, in my opinion, a very potent medicine for divisiveness. Being incredibly passionate about anything has its own power, but when we cease to be able to engage because we see only one thing, that's a problem. So perhaps through practice today, observing in ourselves any tendencies to think, well, that's not the way. Well, that's not the way. Well, that's not the way. Let's be curious today. Because we are working with the hands and the wrists, keep in mind that, of course, it is the whole arm that is energetically really potent and sensitive right now. So if you have sensitivities, weaknesses, pain in the hands and wrists, please do not hesitate to come down to elbows or fists, making sure that you support your body as you need to. Remembering always that it is really the shoulder girdle, chest, upper back, armpits that really create the foundational stability for these parts. And so if the periphery, if that distal end away from the heart feels a weakness, use that proximal, that closer to the heart to find your power. So let's start seated and elevate our hips so that our low back has a little space. Even if you have really open hips, that elevation gives a little subtle freedom to the low back that isn't there otherwise. Closing our outer eyes, softening our jaw. Pausing at the top of the inhale. And then slowly exhaling through the nose. Pausing at the bottom of the exhale, being empty. Fullness we find on the inhale. Pausing at the very top, be subtle, don't necessarily close off the throat, just hover. Before exhaling, pressing that which you've taken in into every cell. Push that breath, prana, into the entire body, and then at the bottom, hover. Inhale slowly, don't gasp or gulp. Moving into your own breath rhythm, you will retain at both the top and bottom of the breath. Continuing in your own rhythm, noticing how expansive, how beyond your own edges the inhale can feel. And on the exhale, not only are you releasing that which you don't need, but again, you're pressing the new out into your body to experience and revitalize. So these exhales become this incredible dual medicine, both integration and clearing. In and out through the nose, soft hovers at the top and the bottom. Maybe you use a count to help keep the inhale and exhale evenly paced. While also not trying particularly to make this a rigid experience, allowing some organic flow. Maybe sometimes that inhale is a little longer, the exhale a little tighter or resistant, but just note it and allow. And then begin a simple breath rhythm, no retention. Turn your palms up, receptive, and then point your fingers out to the side, rotating from the shoulder. Notice the tendency for the shoulders to really creep behind the spine. That's fine, but keep that upper belly really integrated so that the ribs don't just pop open. Things start to come out, let them. Maybe there's a shiver, maybe there's a shake, maybe there's a sound. Maybe you start rolling your hands and your wrists, spreading and curling the fingers, mobilizing in all the directions you can access. Reach the hands out to the side, shoulder height. Notice the tension that can build in the neck and soften it. Allow the shoulders to do this work first, hugging in toward the rib cage while the fingertips reach out. Soften the jaw, follow the head. On the next inhale, reach up. Subtle shrug of the shoulders and shoulder blades wrap forward around the armpits, even as ribs pull back slightly using that solar plexus. Soften the base of the skull, the jaw, and the throat. Inhale here, lift the tail, gather the belly. Exhale, gentle bend in the elbows just to shoulder height as you twist left. Looking back toward left elbow. Inhale, coming up and through center. Use the shoulder blades first. Then exhale, broad heart, broad upper back, twisting right. Inhale, reaching. Keeping the navel centered with your pubic bone, even as the ribs, shoulders, collarbones, and neck spine rotate. It's not about rotating or twisting really deep. It's about finding the exploration of movement around the heart itself. Stability in the low back and the belly. Mobility in the shoulders and the heart and the neck. Coming up through center, interweave the fingers, knuckle to knuckle. Exhale, press the palms. Now the armpits open and blow out a little bit. Allow that. Maybe the pinkies pull back behind you. Maybe the head comes forward and chin tucks gently. Maybe you look left and right. Maybe you acknowledge your belly. And exhale, press the palms forward and the ribs back like a cat pose. Maybe you continue to look left and right, unwinding the neck spine. Palms come down. Your left palm, I'm not mirroring this, is on top. Settles down right in front of the low belly. Maybe the tips of the thumbs touch. And we find the breath again. Can the collarbones remain broad? The elbows almost tucking into the side waist. The base of the skull rising. The breath free and open through the nostrils. Notice. Notice if your thighs or hips want to grip, release them. Sit your weight back onto the sitting bones slightly. Trusting the stability of the spine, your deepest core without clenching. Opening the eyes, releasing the mudra, taking your height off to the side. Maybe you have a blanket across the center of your mat, protecting the knees as you find all fours. Being really precise here today with our hands, making sure that we honor the shape of our arms. If you hang your elbow directly underneath your shoulder, the wrist and hand are often wider. Allow that angle to prescribe how wide your hands are when they meet the mat. Many of us will have the pinky and even ring finger off the mat completely, allowing the fingers and the hand bones to point out at their natural trajectory when the elbows themselves point straight back. Knees are directly under your hips, but the wrist is just out in front of the shoulder. The elbows are soft, not locked. We press through the knuckles and the fingertips of the hands so that the wrist can actually lift up a little here. Feeling the wrist rise. Feeling those knuckles bear your weight. And then pull the thumb in toward the hand. Don't spread it out really wide, allowing the side of the thumb to press into the earth. Elbows point straight back. And then we pull with the wrists against the friction of the mat to broaden the collarbones and pull the sternum toward the chin, keeping the tops of the feet rooted, the knees pull forward toward the wrists, cow pose. Keep the back neck long here. Inhale fully. You're going to keep your hips exactly as they are. Push through the knuckles. Press the heart up between the shoulder blades, but don't change the low belly, the pelvis, the hips. Just drop the crown and try to push the ribs up between the shoulder blades. There's a lot of resistance there. Allow that resistance to work against you. Inhaling, pull the elbows straight back, wrists toward knees, opening the heart fully. Keeping the back neck long, cow pose. Keep the belly firm, the pelvis stable, pressing through just the half cat, just the upper body, working against the resistance of the lower body, cat pose. Inhale, cow, holding the heart forward. Again, we're gripping with the knuckles and the fingertips and then pushing with the knuckles instead of the wrist. Find a full cat this time, dropping the tail, lifting the low belly. Continue to press the feet into the floor. Breathe into the back body. Inhale, full cow, lifting tail, opening heart, pulling knees and wrists toward that space underneath you. Exhale, press the earth away, rising into full cat. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Touch the big toes together, sit the hips back onto the heels, stretch out the armpits, reach the fingertips farther forward, wrap the elbows to point toward the earth. Let your head go as heavy as you can. Maybe third eye meets the earth, and then you rock the head or gaze left and right. Imagine your armpits getting longer, the side waists getting longer, the jaw soft, the breath moving into the back body and the side body. Inhaling, pulling forward. Cow pose, this time tuck the toes. On your exhale, half cat, lift the ribs, then lift the knees, hover. We're pressing the knuckles into the mat and forward so that our body feels like it's gonna move back. But the feet and the hips press us forward so we're stabilized in the center. Inhale here. Exhale, really find the roundness of the ribs and the lift of the tail. Neutral spine, the cow in the low back, the cat in the upper back. Inhale here. Now bend the knees deeper. Pull the hips back toward the heels. Keeping the ribs really rooted. The knees are bent deep. Inhale, shift forward, that hovering table. Exhale, press back. Lots of heat moving here, yogis. Inhale, hovering the shins, come forward to that hovering table. Exhale, shift back. Drop the knees, untuck the toes, sit back onto the heels and sit up, rock pose. Palms down, grip your thighs for a moment, really curling the fingertips in. Then make fists, curl the fingers deep in toward the knuckles of the hands, then wrap around, then wrap the fists, then roll the wrists. Couple different directions. Spread the palms wide. Keep the palms wide and then make big circles just with the hands and the wrists. And then shake. Couple different directions. Palms up, sit. Reaching the hands forward. Your width, your turnout. Elbows point straight back along your sides, but the hands might point out, thumbs softened in toward the palm. Inhale to your cow pose, tucking the toes. Exhale, lift the ribs halfway, table, then lift the knees, hover. Inhale here. Exhale, bend the elbows, tap them down. Keep the knees off the earth if you can. Inhale, come up. Tap them down. Come up. Knees can come down if you need to. Tap the elbows down. This time, lift the hips. Keep the heels high, dolphin pose. Elbows are down. Shoulder blades wrapping forward around your armpit. Think about cat pose in your spine here. Let your head hang in the space between your upper arms. The heels can be high, the knees can be as bent as necessary. Don't block out the knees if you've got enough length in the back leg. Really think about staying active. Big toe pressing down, heels gripping an imaginary block. Lift your navel, tilt the tail, gather the ribs, let the head hang. Drop the knees. Inhale, table. Lifting the elbows. Pause here. Be in your breath. Let your left hand stay rooted. Right hand comes over toward your wrist. Inhale, pull up the inner arm, really using the knuckles like you're massaging that inner arm up to the armpit, and then across the collarbones and up. Notice a tendency for the hips to go over to the right, keep them centered, and then exhale, reach underneath left armpit. Notice the tendency for the hips to move off toward the left, keep them centered. Inhale, pull up for the sky. Exhale, press underneath and through. Just as we did those twists in the opening sequence, think about the ribs rotating while the pelvis and low back stay stable. Exhale, come through. This time, lay your right shoulder on the ground, right temple down, hips remain stable, centered. Undo the fist in the right hand. Press gently through the fingertips of the left hand and imagine a little cat pose in your ribs and spiraling your left ribs above your right. They're not going to move much, but give them just a little effort. And then notice your head. Is your head like cranking? Can you let the head go heavy even while the ribs do this work? And then let that left armpit get heavy and reach the left hand forward and up past the edge, the corner of the mat. Wrapping this left shoulder blade around its armpit as if left elbow could point to the earth. Gentle lift of the belly. Deliberate breath in and out through the nose, unless something comes up that needs to come out through the mouth. Sliding left hand back, bending elbow. It's at the edge of your mat in front of your face. Inhale, right hand pulls the bowstring to the sky, hips, low back stable, heart, collarbones, chest, shoulders expansive. And then coming back down. Table pose. Just notice your asymmetry. Second side, right hand rooted, knuckles and fingertips. Left hand comes across, pulling the bowstring up that inner arm. Don't get lazy and pull out to the side. Really pull straight up, gathering the belly, and then across the collarbones, and then up. Notice you're fighting those hips. They're moving toward the left edge. Pull them into the space between the knees. On an exhale, press underneath right armpit, reaching, hips stable. Don't let them sway off to the right. Inhale, press down, but pull up. Imagine an elastic band, an actual bowstring. And then exhale, push through. One more to the sky. And then through. This time, setting that shoulder down on the earth, just in front of left knee, left temple down, palm unwinds, go soft. Center the pelvis, cat the ribs, come onto the fingertips of the right hand, and then, subtle internal spiral, trying to stack right ribs over left. It's not going to happen, but the effort and energy of that movement is there. Let the head go. allow the heart to activate and the mind and the head physically to surrender. Then dropping that right rib cage and armpit, walking right hand long along the edge of your mat. You're on that left temple, wrapping the right elbow as if it could point down. Wrapping that right shoulder blade around its own armpit. Finding the breath, centering the hips, in and out through the nose unless something comes up to get out through the mouth. Bending the elbows, sliding the hand back along the edge of the mat in front of the face. Push down the feet, the hand, pull the left arm to the sky, opening up. And then rooting back down. Table pose, lifted tail, gathered ribs. Tuck the toes, inhale, cow pose. Exhale, half cat, lift the knees. Inhale, pull the hips back, pressing with the knuckles. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift the ribs and the armpits, but wrap the shoulder blades forward and around. Be here, feeling the weight shift back into your legs. If you'd like, on your inhale, wrap the elbows and tap them down. Exhale, come up. Tap them down. Come up. Tap them down. Remain dolphin. Walk the elbows closer if they came down too wide. Let the head hang. Even as the ribs pull up toward the hips, toward the sky, gathering the belly. We're not in a back bend in the ribs here. We're in a cat pose. The hands could come closer to midline here, but the elbows have the effort of wrapping in towards your head. From here, staying on the forearms, inhale, tap the knees down. Exhale, rise up. Pulling the heels and the hips back in space. Inhale, tap down. Feel the rounding of the heart like child's pose. Keep that as you lift the hips and pull back. Inhale, tap. Exhale, come back and up. One more, tap. And back and up. Be here. Let the head go. Drop the knees completely. Shift back. Prayer pose. And then hands come back, child's pose. Shrug the shoulders up toward the ears. Let the elbows go slack. Your hands align closer to your shins than to your feet. Rock the head left and right. Think about your hips being heavy, pulling back away from the anchor of your third eye. Make sure your shoulders surrender completely. There's no phantom gathering or gripping in there. If you'd like, you can bind the palms behind your back, knuckle to knuckle with the fingers, but instead of touching the palms together, let the palms be a little open. You can remain here, or you can shrug your shoulders and start to lift your elbows.
We're not squeezing the shoulders back and locking out the elbows. We're keeping the shoulders forward, wide on the upper heart, and then pulling the elbows to that space above the head. The chest really has to activate here. Notice a tendency for your neck to collapse. Can you lift up through the throat slightly? Press 1 pound of effort through the third eye into the floor. Gather the belly and pull the hips back even as elbows reach forward. Release the hands to the low back. Release the bind, shrugging shoulders, go slack, child's pose. Maybe you make fists, maybe you let the hands rest. Reach the hands forward, make sure they land wide. Come forward, table, lifting through the ribs and the tail. Tuck the toes, inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat ribs, then downward facing dog. Pause there, knuckles heavier than wrists. Come high up on the ball of the foot, tiptoeing the feet closer, pulling the thighs into the heart, bending knees, creeping forward. You'll come onto fingertips when you need a little bit more height. You might even take your hands onto blocks as needed to let the feet come up into the space beyond your blanket. Hips width, toes turned out as necessary. Weight into the ball of the foot and then fold forward completely. Today we're going to grasp opposite elbows or interweave them so your hands don't have to work. Let the whole rib cage, shoulder blade, neck and head release forward and down. Gather the low belly. Feel the back channels of the calves, the thighs, and the glutes all work and unwind simultaneously. Maybe you sway. Maybe you find the organic freedom of this position. Maybe it's muscular, maybe it's simply the breath. Whatever you do, be honest and authentic in the moment. Be present for yourself and yourself alone. Notice any gripping in the spine, shoulders, arms, neck, head, face. Let those go systematically. As you let one thing go, notice something else, let it go. Notice something else, let it go. Go back to the beginning. Start again. Go down the list as things subtly start to engage. Disengage them. Release the hands from the bind. Slide them up, above the knees to the thighs. Push with the forefoot. The heels are still light. Lifting through the tail, gathering through the ribs. Be in that half cat position for a half forward fold. Hug the heels toward the midline. Be here. Allow your blood pressure to re-regulate. Sit back into the heels and stand, stacking heart over the hips. The hips are over the heels. Tadasana, lifted tail, gathered ribs, open chest, rising crown.
Be here, be in the breath. Be stable like the mountain, but flow internally like the stream. Sturdiness is not hardness. There is a subtlety. Embrace it, embody it. Turn the palms out, reach with the shoulder blades up overhead. As you exhale, reach the hips back and then left foot back, lunge. Crescent style, pushing through the ball of the back foot, lifting the heel high. Make sure your right knee is directly over your ankle. Wrap the shoulder blades forward and pull the ribs back. Now keep that front leg stable. On an inhale, pull the left knee forward, and then exhale, straighten. Inhale, pull that knee and thigh forward underneath you, rolling over the toes, stretching. Exhale, push it back. Nothing else changes. It's beautiful. Inhale, pull forward. Exhale, push back. This time, pull forward. Exhale, bring the knee down. Yes, beautiful. Untuck those toes. Shift the hips forward, but lift through the tail, lift through the back of the heart, reaching the sternum for the chin. Shift forward, feel the stretch in the thighs. The back neck long. Take the hands down. They might come to blocks. Tuck the back toes. Pyramid pose, back heel high. Both legs straight. Find the stretch. Notice the tendency of the heart to come over the thigh. Can you keep it centered? Imagine the heels both gripping toward the midline slightly. Lift the tail, gather the ribs, open the heart. Be here. Right hand reaches over to the left wrist. Bowstring, pull it, open. Don't let the left hip drop. Keep lifting through that left thigh. And then hand comes down. Step forward, half a fold. Fold in completely. Hands above knees, lift halfway. Exhale, sit back into the heels, chair pose. Inhale to the sky. Standing. Hands come down, Tadasana, mountain pose. Find that equanimity, the energy backward, forward, backward, forward, backward, forward. All to create the anchor down and the expansion up. Be in your breath. Be equal in your feet. Turn palms out, inhale up. As you exhale, hinge back into the hips and then right foot back, lunge, heel high. Doesn't have to be your deepest lunge, doesn't matter. Just really push to the ball of the foot, stretching out the sole. Left knee directly over your left heel, turning those front toes out as needed so that you're not dropping in with the knee. Gather the shoulder blades and elbows forward and pull the ribs back. On an inhale, pull your right thigh forward underneath you. And then exhale, press it back. Inhale, pull it forward. Stretching that toe. Exhale, straight leg. One more, pull it in. And press it back. This time we pull it in. And then we bring it down. Untuck those toes. Lift the tail as the entire pelvis shifts forward. Try to stay centered as the back of the heart heart lifts up, sternum to chin. Hands come down, heart comes down. Maybe there's blocks. Tucking the back toes, keep the heel high, shift the hips back, straight legs, modified pyramid pose. Notice the tendency for that heart to twist over the left thigh. Can you keep the tail pointing straight back? Both legs active. Weight from the ball of the foot out to the big heel or the outer heel. Then imagine both heels gripping the midline. Keep that right thigh lifted. Right hand on your block. Left hand pulls the bowstring. Open heart. Try to keep that right thigh lifting. Soften your breath. It's holding. You're gripping. I can feel it from here. Take it down. Step forward, softening the left knee. Half fold, inhale. Exhale, fold in. Pause here. Inhale, hands above knees, lift halfway. Exhale, weight back in the heels, chair pose. To the sky, Urdhva Hastasana, reaching up. Down the midline, Tadasana. Be there. Allow the hands to be the expression of the energy of your heart. They're not just limp, they're alive. Fingertips bold, expressive. Weight in the heels. Lifting the tail and the back of the heart. Base of the skull. Softening the jaw. Reach the palms up overhead. Exhale, hinge in the hips, left foot back, lunge. Inhale, come down. Exhale, move forward into the back bend. Don't go too far. Think about your heart being expressive and wrapping the shoulder blades forward. On an exhale, fold, tucking toes. Inhale, lifting the knee, straightening the legs, pyramid. Bow in, come to the center. In one move, lift the heart and open it. Exhale, take the hand down. Step forward, lift the heart halfway. Exhale, fold in. One breath to the top, yogis. Pressing through the forefoot, weight shifts into the heels, to the sky, the hands go. Exhale, Tadasana. Pause there. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hinge in the hips, right foot back, lunge. Inhale to the earth. Exhale, shifting forward, lifting your back bend. And then folding forward, tucking toes. As you're ready, both legs straight, lift hips, lift heart. Exhale, fold in. One inhale, lift the heart and open it. Don't let the right hip drop. Exhale, coming down. Soft knee, float forward, inhale, half lift.
Exhale, fold in. Move the blocks. Hands above knees, lift halfway. Exhale, hands root, plank pose. Be here. Lifting the tail. It's your table pose without your knees on the ground. Broad collarbones, lifted throat, elbows point back. Bring your right knee to your heart, stay in your plank. And then flex that foot and press it underneath you, past the edge of the mat. Wow. Now your left foot goes flat and your left hand goes to the sky. Open up. Push with the knuckles. And then hand comes down. And then three-legged plank. And then full plank. And then left knee to your heart, flexing that foot. On an exhale, push it underneath you across the edge of the mat. Then your right foot goes flat and right hand to the sky. Open up. Keep the hips lifted. And then hand comes down. Three-legged plank, knee at the chest. Four-legged plank, feet back, hands forward. Pull the knees in, cow pose, open heart. Exhale, sit back, prayer pose. Hands back, child's pose. Shrug shoulders, go slow. As you can, make your way onto your belly. Tuck your chin, third eye on the ground. Reach forward, palms together, big toes touch behind you, long prostration. Take your hands to shoulder width, up onto the fingertips, like little spiders. Pull back, tiny little baby cobra, just in the upper back. Lengthening through the sternum. Then your left hand is going to slide into that space underneath the right armpit. If it's far forward and it's hard to get under your collarbones, then you might bring your right hand closer to you, roll open, align your upper arm in front of your heart, and then roll back down. You might choose to tuck your chin into your arm and let your third eye go heavy, back neck stretching long, or the chin can come past that arm to the earth. Your right arm comes down at the long side of your body, palm up, shrug shoulders, that whole body goes heavy. Use your breath. Notice how it can flow in and through your back body, behind your abdominal organs, behind your lungs, into the space between ribs and shoulder blades. Explore. If you would like extra, lift the head. Cross your palm with your left thumb. Wrap the fingers around the thumb. Bend the elbow. Your chin sits into, the point of your chin sits into the crease at the base of your wrist.
on the pinky side. And then your head goes heavy. It'll veer off to the left a little bit. Chest heavy. Don't tuck it in under the chin completely so it's on your throat. Let the bone of your jaw meet the bone of your wrist. Allow that left shoulder to accept the breath. The weight of the head to help the wrist descend. Check in with your hips. Are they gripping or posturing? When you're ready, lift the head, straighten the arm. Bend the right knee, send it out to the side. Reach the right hand to the sky, stacking your hip and your heart right over left. Let the head go heavy. And then keeping the belly really firm, flex both feet. We're really rotating from those upper ribs, collarbone, chest, and then neck. You might feel this in the low back a little bit, but we're not trying to get the twist into the low back. We're really trying to think about this happening from the ribs up. Belly is firm, almost pulling that right rib toward the right thigh, using those oblique muscles. Bend the right elbow. Bring it to the space in front of your face. Straighten the right leg. Come onto the belly. Reach right hand forward. Lift the heart. Unthread the left arm. Be centered. Be really light in the heart and the collarbones. Lifted belly, heavy knees, very baby cobra. Back neck is long. And then when you're ready, sliding right arm underneath the left armpit. Again, if you need to roll a little to align that right arm in front of your heart, do so. Rolling back down onto it. Palm up. Tucking chin as needed to bring the head down to the earth. Left arm swings down to the side body. Palm turns up, shrug shoulder, go slack. Everything goes heavy. Finding the breath, utilizing the exhale. Lifting the head, crossing the palm with the right thumb, wrapping fingers around. Bend elbow, chin moves into that little bony notch right at the base of the wrist. Don't use the throat, use the bones of the jaw. Let the head go heavy, it'll veer over to the right slightly. Let the left collarbone, shoulder, arm all go very heavy. Release the hips. Breathe into the space that wants to be developed in that right shoulder, armpit, shoulder blade, upper arm. Release any action in the neck so that the head can go very heavy. Lift the head. Release the elbow and the hand. Left hand comes to your almost a cobra setup. Bend the left knee. Swing that out to the side. 90 degrees at the hip and the knee. Flex the feet. Stack the hips and the ribs. Reach the left arm for the sky. Head heavy. Gather the belly. Pull those bottom ribs toward the left thigh. And then one rib at a time. Peeling open. Thinking about the collarbone and shoulder blade, the side ribs, the arm, the wrist, the hand, be one long, continuous unit. Integrate it as you release. Softening the jaw, letting the head go heavy. Again, keeping the belly firm and not letting this go into the low back. We're rotating through the rib spine, stabilizing, using those oblique muscles to pull the bottom rib toward that left thigh. Stability and mobility meeting. Bending the left elbow, reach for the sky. Place it in that space in front of the face. Straighten the leg, roll onto the belly. Reach both hands forward. Very baby cobra. Back neck long, knees heavy, belly lifting, heart pulling forward, hands pulling back. Bring the hands back under elbows as wide as your mat, your natural turnout, so elbows point straight back. Push down with the knees and the hands, come up. Walk the knees forward toward the wrists. Sit back onto the heels, palms up, rock pose. Lean forward, move your feet through. And then as you're ready, propping up the knees with bolster or rolled blanket. Maybe you place your heels on blocks. And then come down into your supported Shavasana, shrugging the shoulders up, letting the arms go
to the most organic width. Don't try to make a particular shape. Simply allow the bones to define where you lay. If things feel crooked, look up and down your body and assure yourself that you're in a straight line, and then close your eyes and allow the asymmetries to simply melt away, knowing that you are, quote unquote, in a straight line. Something feels short or something feels lengthened. Breathe in and out. Notice, but do not judge. And this time there's no, oh, I need to stretch that thing or I need to unwind that place. In this moment, you let go of necessity, of purpose, of action of all kinds. In this place, your body dies. Your mind is untethered. And you are released from the fear, from the persistence, from the pressure, the decisions. You are the wilting rose, the falling leaf, the bare branch. The bleached bones. In your Shavasana, you become the nothing. In order to return fully to the everything. Allow now the everything to return to its manifest form. Muscle building on bone, breath filling the bloodstream, returning to the sense of the mountain and the stream. The solid and the fluid.
Allow the breath to animate the body, moving in the places and parts that come most organically to you. Don't think, simply act. Gaze upon those movements internally with curiosity, with wonder. Allow those movements to bring you slowly to the seat of your choice, with elevated hips, heavy roots, light heart, permeable mind, and palms up. Into those palms, receive the light. Light of my gratitude and your practice. The light of kinship and community. The light of passion without judgment. And soak all of this up through those channels in your arms to meet at the center of your heart. Brightest light, center of it all, center that is reflected among all of us like a house of mirrors. All the lights, one light. Find your palms there and bow in. Trusting the truth of this center, the peace at the center of that center, the singular point that is absolute stillness. Trust. Be curious and trust. From the center of my center to that sacred center of yours. Namaste. Thank you, Yogin. Such an honor to be present with you this morning, every morning. Remember that these classes can be accessed online. I'm doing my best to actually post them closer to real time so you can get to them sooner. Yeah. I appreciate each and every one of you, your smiles, your breath. If you have questions or comments, don't hesitate to reach out. And I look forward to seeing you at 9 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Take care.